Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Racer X Exhaust Podcast, presented by Yoshimura. I am Jason Weigandt. Just got back from 5 days in California. It's Anaheim 1. We had Anaheim 1 fever, and the only cure is more Anaheim 1. It's a really fun podcast that I wanted to do for a long time. My goal is always to just get you into the conversations that I have all the time. So in this case, it is Sunday after Anaheim 1, and I went to visit my buddies who were staying down the road. It's what you would have known as the Vurb Moto video crew. Nowadays, Vurb Moto itself as a website, as a functioning brand, is no longer, but the guys that did the videos for Vurb just do video projects for other people. Probably their highest profile stuff is everything they do for Red Bull. If you watch Red Bull Straight Rhythm, a lot of the video programs for that, those cool promos, the 90s looking stuff, the Dave Despain stuff, that was all done by them. And then Moto Spy, which is the Red Bull series that follows riders around and has them all microphoned up. It really gets you behind the scenes at Baker's Factory and other places. That's done by those folks as well. Now, if you are saying to yourself, I don't even know what this Vurb Moto thing is, I'll give you a brief synopsis, and then we'll get to our interview. But first, a shout-out to our sponsor, Yoshimura. I think we're bordering on 66 years now of four-stroke research and development. They've got an exhaust system that you want for your machine, be it a dirt bike, an ATV, a street bike. They've got side-by-side stuff. Go to yoshimura-rd.com. and check out how cool their stuff looks. Got the all-new exhaust, the RS12, on Alex Martin's RMZ 250, and he pulled a massive hole shot in his heat race. Don't dog on the dogness of the Suzuki motors with the Yosh pipes, because look at the start that Amart pulled in the heat. Probably would have had a top 5 in the main, but he got bunched into some tough blocks, and that was all she wrote. But he was underrated, sneaky good at Anaheim. We're going to talk Anaheim a lot here in this episode. So Vurb Moto, it started like this, real quick. Some kid was from Atlanta, shot videos at the local races. That led him to know my buddy Kevin Kelly from DMXS Radio. Kevin Kelly announces at Loretta's with me. He pulled some strings. We got this kid to shoot some videos at Loretta's. He was really good. We turned it into this highlight series called MX Sports Center. This is 2005. It's before there was anything called YouTube. I don't know how this kid put it together. He got a couple of other young kids to help him. His name is Wes Williams. He and those kids eventually grew up to be adult-ish and do some good projects in the industry. And then they decided to start their own company. It was called Vurb Moto. They primarily covered amateur racing with video. And I will tell you that the reason that today's riders are better with social media and their own videos and putting out their own content, guys like Jason Anderson, is because they were Vurb people. They had Wes Williams shoving a camera in their face at age 9. And now that they're in their 20s, it's old hat to them. Cooper Webb, you know how he's all honest and every once in a while he'll use a podium interview to throw some shade? He learned that because he had cameras in his face at age 9. Adam Cianciarulo, maybe the best interview now already in the history of the sport. He had Vurb Moto shoving cameras in his face at age 9. All the skills that you're seeing now are born out of the video amateur thing that Wes Williams and the Vurb Moto crew created back then. Now, it is very difficult to run a website. It is very difficult to run it profitably. Ask me how I know. I have to go through this drill every single week to try to keep RacerX Online on the tracks. So eventually, Vurb decided running their own site wasn't the best business move, and it was better to just create content for others. And Red Bull's one of their biggest clients with Moto Spy and all those things. But these guys mostly are just into dirt bikes, whether they're shooting videos for themselves or others. And when I talked to them Sunday after Anaheim, they're like, dude, we rented a house. Come on by. We've been talking dirt bikes all day, all night. We woke up this morning. We're still talking dirt bikes. I came down and said, yeah, I'll talk dirt bikes with you, but with a catch. We're going to go to lunch, but I'm bringing a recorder. So this is our conversation. It's so long, actually, that this will be a 2-part podcast, 2 hours. This first hour, we were at lunch. The people there are Wes Williams, who was one of the founders of Vurb Moto, Chase Stallo, who used to be my right-hand man at Racer X. Chase has now moved over to work with Wes. God rest his soul, he's no longer full-time with Racer X, but it's cool. David Bullmer, an Englishman who actually also does some PR for the Honda HRC Grand Prix team in Europe, but he's an OG Vurb guy, and he still comes to the States every once in a while to help out. And Danny Stuart, who is an ace video shooter. Can't believe I just complimented him. He also runs a racetrack in Maine, which is where we produce the Racer X main event. So a lot of ties that bind here, and it all comes down to this. We all really, really love dirt bikes. So when you have a conversation the day after Anaheim, the most anticipated race of the year, you're going to cover a lot of topics, and it's going to be a lot of fun. What I try to steer these guys in the direction of is their Moto Spy series and how they are behind the scenes. They literally had riders like Ken Roczen wearing microphones throughout the day at Anaheim. They go to the test tracks with these riders and have them wear microphones. They talk to the mechanics. They talk to the team managers. They are all integral parts. Search Red Bull Moto Spy on YouTube if you haven't watched any of the shows. There is no one more trusted with a camera and a microphone behind the scenes with these riders than Wes Williams and his guys. So they get the good stuff, and we talk about that in this episode. Episode 2 coming up will be more about the genesis of how Vurb started and why they do what they do. But this is just a whole bunch of guys who love dirt bikes talking dirt bikes after a dirt bike race. This is what you do. This is what we do. I think you'll like it. Have lunch with us. Here we go. These audio technophiles, you can't help yourself. You want the audio to be clean. You keep holding these microphones. You can't stand it.
It's directional.
You can't stand it.
It is hard to just watch this terrible audio get recorded.
That's a great idea, Bullmer.
Bullmer solved all problems. Hi.
Look at these levels just dancing the whole time.
This is not a podcast. We were just hanging out like we were supposed to, morons, and I'm just recording it. Okay. So stop talking about recording it, and just go back to what we were supposed to be doing, which is just hanging out. Okay. Wes, where's your girlfriend right now?
She doesn't like hearing us talk about dirt bikes 24 hours a day.
She should have come because we haven't talked about that. We've only talked about podcasting.
We only talk about audios. So
she usually chooses not to hang out with us because we talk about dirt bikes so much.
How is she able to deal with this? She's staying in this house with you idiots, and
she has a dog. That's how.
In a rooftop patio that she can go for exclusion time.
So the dog is the one thing that won't talk about dirt bikes because she's actually good.
Funny thing.
Hey, wait, yeah, go ahead.
You know, Danny and RV are now best friends.
You and Phil Poto?
Yes, best friends. Talk on the phone. They were talking on the phone this morning.
Were you at this whip thing that Crane went to that he said Phil Poto was the coolest guy ever?
Yeah.
Were you a part of that?
And that's when they became best friends. They struck it off. They hit this bond that has been inseparable since.
Although he continues to stand me up on these bike rides.
We've been trying to get him to come ride on bike rides, and including this one today.
Yeah. You tried.
We tried.
He could probably bike ride from his house.
Apparently he has 2 kids that need to go ride PW50s, so that was his excuse today.
Hey, as far as that shoot goes, we can confirm that, he's pretty cool.
I don't know, is that a revelation anymore?
Yeah, he's kind of talking about the show.
When Crane was telling me, I can't believe how cool Villapoto is now, I'm like,
but it was even
that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, but I feel like Crane
another level. Yeah. Crane does live under a rock, good point.
I even told him, I was like, when I found out it was like you doing the shoot with us, I was like, ugh. Like, you're actually not that bad.
But I think that's why Villapoto likes him.
Oh, he doesn't want you to. Yes. They like. Okay, so you guys are as inside as anybody. Have you noticed that the guys always respond to not kissing their ass? Yeah. They would much rather have you not. Right?
Yeah.
50-50.
Yeah.
50-50?
Yeah.
I think even to this day, it's always dancing around, figuring out how the moods are each day to figure out how to pick and prod and poke. And
so they are different.
Yeah,
riders are different.
Every day, like you can definitely sense the vibe and the mood when you're shooting.
So the same rider could be different one day or another.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because
they're human, man. They
Wait, they are?
Well, it's just saying, like.
So are you saying they are? By you saying just saying, I don't understand.
Okay.
I see what you're saying. You're just saying they have different moods.
Yeah.
But the swings are probably wilder because there's more scrutiny. Generally, you are going behind the scenes and you're hanging out with riders. And it seems like you've done it so much for so long, all of you guys, that you would have it down.
Yeah, we're like psychologists. We know when to push and we know not when to push.
Do you get a little nervous each day when you drive up the dirt road? Like,
yes, still to
it's
this
still
day.
a
I've
little
known
socially
Webb
awkward
since he was 6 years old.
Yes,
Same with Ken.
Yes.
You never know. There's definitely days
there's
that
days where you could like hear a pin drop Like,
I'll give you an example. And I won't say the rider, but last night we go to the pit. Not good vibes. We're like, all right, we're going home. Like, it wasn't.
At the end of the night.
Yeah, it was like we're not going to even go in there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
You know when to push and when not to push.
Yeah.
So you're always a little nervous, a little like, how's this gonna go?
Sure.
When you're showing up.
Yeah. I'd
makes
say we
sense.
get really lucky a lot of times, or we just know how to capitalize on situations sometimes, especially like Baker's last year, Moto Spy episode 5, after the whole Marv and Coop thing.
How in the hell?
It's not like they were at each other's throats that day, but like, you know, just knowing how to tell the story, get there and be like, all right, how do I tell this day that's going on and let people sense what's going on from their own perspective. I'm not constructing anything that's not happening, but it's not like they're there beating each other up or cussing at each other, but you could tell by the non-communication that there was probably some tension that day.
And you also know when you're really not wanted there. Like, nobody wants to be shot. Nobody wants a camera in their face when they're pissed off.
But I think
there we are, freaking.
But you have to be. When you appreciate the situation that's happening, they then appreciate that you've taken notice and aren't just like doing it anyway. Like, if you can tell that there's a shitty situation and you don't do it, they're like, next time, okay, they're gonna be cool.
A lot of times those shitty situations are what make for epic video. So it's a very fine line.
But also, too, I think we've gained their respect that we're not going to like throw them under the bus for something they've said.
Yeah, there's definitely some really good trust levels, I think. We have with everyone.
Like, we're not gonna, if they say something super bad, we're not going to be like, oh, we got a good, you know what I mean? Now, people can say that's not exposing the truth, but it's.
Well, no,
but then the next episode you wouldn't get any truth.
Yeah,
then the next episode you won't get anything. So it's there's a fine line.
There really isn't, because here's the thing I always say. Yes, I guess if they want to say a true journalist would just report all of it, but this is not. You're not in a true journalism position. No. If they knew that you were super hardcore reporter guy, they wouldn't allow you to come to their track, and they're granting you access. So if they're granting you access, you have to be respectful. If it's a press day or a press conference.
Sure.
Then it's open season. That's what they signed up for. But you have to be respectful of the fact that they're allowing you to come and see them in a private moment. And that doesn't mean it's fair game to take anything you want.
Access journalism.
Yeah, access journalism.
The crazy thing, I could get on Vital and dispel so many rumors that I knew months ahead of time. I had no desire. It's like there was no point in
a positive way. You could actually help them.
Oh, no, not necessarily them. But like, whatever it is.
Right.
But I think never would want to even draw the line of that distrust happening, right? So there's only a few sources some of that information can come from. I'm never going to be that guy.
Part of what fuels the sport.
They'll know it's you.
Not necessarily, but they could probably say there's probably 5 people that can know about this.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And you start. I'm sure that if you were to do it a lot, get on Vital under some pseudonym, they'd figure out if you eventually.
They just ignore it and believe what they wanted to believe anyway. Yeah. Also, though, but I think that's what fuels the sport is speculation and innuendo, and you know what I mean? Like, people love rumors and gossip.
I know.
I mean, we all do in other sports. Like, LeBron James maybe going to the Pele or whatever. Like, we're all into that.
Coaching changes.
Yeah, coaching changes, free agency. Like, we're all into that too, and we don't know any better for the most part. I just don't go into like message boards and type about it. Right?
I have been struggling with that lately. For sure, people like drama so much that they predict drama. Like, the chances of Tomac and Cianciarulo hating each other this year are very low, I feel. In reality,
I don't feel like Tomac hates anybody. So yeah,
for the most part, here's what's 90% chance this is what's going to happen. They're going to give 2 guys the best bikes they can, and they're just going to race, and nothing's going to go on. But most people don't want that. They want to at least have the speculation of, what might happen here? So I keep thinking, like, as a journalist, my job is to tell them the truth, which is, to be honest, there's probably not anything going to happen. And I've talked to everybody, and they said there's really nothing going on. But you're right. That's not what people want to hear.
No, they'll ignore that, and then
they keep ignoring that. Yes.
Find someone that says something will happen, and then listen to
him.
He
liked an Instagram post that said something about this. So they hate each other. Right. They have to.
Yes. So I keep thinking, like, what they want is the truth, right? So I have to keep doubling and tripling down on the truth, but they don't really want the truth. They want to hear the fun stuff, even if it's not necessarily
anything to create a storyline.
Anything to create a storyline.
But I think you're one of the most fairest journalists out there. Like, but you've said when Webb and Martin were having drama at Star, you guys were saying that, like, they were having drama. Like,
Yeah, right.
Martin was not pitting in the truck.
Yeah, but
that was crazy, but that was like the most extreme thing ever. Pitting out of the back of the rig.
pitting at the back of the rig. He was saying there was just, when we have 5 riders, there's just not enough room.
Yeah, which
I've taken the step down. It's right.
but you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, I think you're right. Like we can't. People have fallen into the trap of being Stephen A. Smith, right?
And always creating it.
Yeah, they want to be loud and creating drama and creating these fake.
But at least it does make it interesting.
But that's what gets the most attention too.
I know. So I'm always stuck with like, if I know there is no drama, I want to keep forcing people to know there is no drama, but they're never going to buy it.
No.
They are always going to think, okay, just being these situations alone. Tomac and Cianciarulo together, and Roczen and Cianciarulo together. You could tell every fan and put a lie detector yesterday and say, I swear to God, nothing has gone bad. And they'd be like, nah, dude, not buying it.
It's a cover-up. There's too many
cover-up.
people saying
Yes.
no, so it must be a yes.
Right.
Covering it up. Man.
So why am I trying so hard? That's just what people want.
But I did ask Chase the other night, because after all the speculation, I'm like, dude, if AC and Ken actually did start battling for the championship and started taking digs at each other,
Yeah.
you're going to tell me that they're still going to be friends off the track?
I feel like everyone, Alden, the riders, and probably, I think everyone has always said, hey, yeah, if it comes to that, it probably will change. But
Maybe if only for a few months.
yes, but even Zacho told me, when I talked to Zacho a few days ago, he's like, dude, how often does it ever...
Yeah,
he's like,
people.
how often do any of us even start 1-2 in a race and battle for the win between us? It happens like...
the championship.
And how often has it ever been Baker's dudes going into the final race of the year like tied in points? Like it doesn't ever
How
really...
often did Tomac and Webb battle last year? Like,
Yeah, you're right. 3 or 4. They were 1 and 2 in points, and they probably battled handlebar to handlebar 4 times.
Yeah.
In all the heat races, all the laps.
it doesn't. It's not our sport
No.
like that. If they started like in a
Yeah.
Formula 1 grid and it was like 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4, then it might happen.
So yeah, they all, I think, say, if it comes to that, dude, yes, if we go to Salt Lake City tied in points, it's going to be
What are
weird.
the odds for that? Point one?
It almost never happens.
No, the series will be over by round 13. You know,
Like it usually is. Like it usually is, yeah.
Wasn't last year. And for Red Bull Moto Spy, I hope it's not.
It wasn't over in points, but it's never as close as we think it's going to be.
No, but we went back a couple years ago and looked, and like usually by round 13,
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty.
Well, with the Dungeons and Villapotos, Carmichael's, and of course.
Yeah.
But as Weege keeps stating in all the podcasts that I've actually listened to.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Wes.
But because of Chase tells me what parts to listen to for the series.
Oh, you have to for Moto Spy.
Yeah.
It's the only reson why. It's part of the
I
job.
give him the parts to listen to.
Okay. Yes.
No one could dare listen to the whole of it.
Yeah, no, probably not.
But
Most people don't make it past the opening. So.
you never have had. We always say, yes, this year's the best year ever, but every year it is the best year ever. And now, right now, we do have 12 dudes that.
Which is why
Marcia
you
just won.
talked for 5 hours this morning, and then we're talking again.
It goes back to the same point. We all want to like build up this hype and this drama.
But no, what Villapoto or Dungiers, yeah, they might have had the rivalry, but you knew it would be them two. One of those two guys was going to win. Now, you can't legitimately tell me anybody. Although Webb was surprising as shit last night. Like, holy shit, Webb.
He did what he does.
No one picked Barsha to win last night.
Nobody did.
No.
He wasn't even on the radar.
It is. I feel like the Webb performance is a little scary. Like, oh wait, he might just do this every year.
Well,
Like he had the worst night he could possibly had, and he still got more points than all but 2 riders already.
Super sick too.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's about as bad as he could be, and he still beat almost every major dude that you're expecting. Like, oh dude, Tomac might have something for him. What about Anderson? Roczen, he beat them all.
He's a gamer, bro.
in Moto Spy episode 1, we said something about him just having something in him that can.
I know.
Once you're a champion, you know how to do this.
Yeah.
And he proved it again last night.
It is. I feel bad because I've been saying this a lot. I've said this on this podcast, so the fans, not you because you don't listen, but the fans will be like, dude, stop making this point. He gets a little underestimated because he goes about it in a different... It's not just like you see him jump something in practice and you're like, oh, what are you going to do?
No, he's not Stu.
No.
Stu would quad a thing and it's
Right.
like, oh my god.
That's not...
Stu. Yeah.
Right. So it's not like saying basketball terms, he like does some dunk where you're like, yeah.
It's probably because he's actually bad in practice. Like, he doesn't do good.
Oh, it's fine.
So it automatically lowers anyone's
It does.
expectations
It keeps
before the
screwing you.
game drop.
Yes.
Like, it's up after the race, and then next practice is like, oh,
big guy.
Oh my God, you still had motor.
It was my fault.
No, I know.
We know.
I know it was your fault.
We know.
What kind of beer did you get? Big Eye IPA?
Yeah.
All right, dude, that sounds good.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, this might end badly.
This might be like a 9-hour
Stumbling
podcast.
and then stumbling to the mountain bikes.
So hey, what's cool?
Yeah.
We'll definitely end up making it in Moto Spy episode 2. But Ian and Coop were up in this room before the press conference, and we filmed them having a nice organic chat for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Threw our mics right up in there, capturing everything they're saying. But Ian was telling Coop how he's never seen anybody with his style of racecraft that like he doesn't let a 15th in practice bother him, and somehow he just pulls it out of his ass for a race. And Ian was like complimenting him on how he somehow magically does this.
Yes.
Anybody else at 15th in practice just sends you on this whirlwind of destruction for the night.
Yes.
Never come out of it. Coop just doesn't seem to even phase him. He's like, oh, well, I got 15th in practice, whatever. I'm going to go might even go win tonight.
Right. And even though we know it, you're right, Bullmer, it still fools you a little bit. Like, okay, if he was...
And it will every time.
Right.
It
Yes.
will every time.
If he was
Like,
eighth in practice
Because everyone's
yesterday,
in
maybe.
fantasy mode where it's like, oh, I've got to make a pick and I've got to do it off practice. So
Yeah.
he's sucking and I'm not
Right.
going to pick him, and then he wins. You're like, oh,
Dude, he got third. That's
unreal.
even as bad as he was in some of the practices last year. I think we're talking like 7th or 8th, not 15th
Well,
in
the only
podium.
reason I thought it because he was sick. Like, and I
Yeah.
knew he was sick,
Right,
and I was like,
you're like,
and then
right.
he goes and gets 15th in practice. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he'll get an 8th tonight. And,
Exactly.
And move on to the next round, be healthy, whatever. blah,
Third?
blah, blah. And he comes out and gets third.
Dude, that's ridiculous.
There was a point in the main where when him and Ken were battling, they were like 4th and 5th at that point in time. I thought Coop was going to start coming back,
Yeah, I did
dropping
too.
back because I
Yeah.
saw a moment of like fatigue. I thought,
Yeah.
But I heard him say on our mic after the race, like he didn't really start feeling it until like 6 laps to go, and then he said he was like really able to turn it on. So that's when he pushed up to third. Past
Feeling good or bad?
feel like actually, I guess
Got into
adrenaline
the-
rush, whatever mode
No
it was.
way.
But I heard him tell Alden through our boom mic, like, yeah, man, I didn't even really start feeling it until like 6 laps to go.
Really?
And there's a shot when he gets off the track, and you can just like he looks like when somebody you see him and they're like ghost white,
Yeah.
kind of how it is.
He was jacked up.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't a fake like oh I'm sick and that's why I got sick like
Oh, no.
you know what I mean like it was legit.
You know how you know it wasn't fake? Because they were actually admitting it throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't...
But
and
what
you
if
just bring it up after the thing.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
Oh no, I've been sick all day.
Right.
What
They've
if,
been telling
it was a
everyone.
conspiracy though? They just did that to fool everyone.
Yeah, that's
You're gonna, that's
I'm
gonna,
so
yeah, that's
confused
what's
now.
gonna end up
that
on
brings it
Vurb.
up in the at the beginning of the week. I've been sick in the week, and then Coop's like, "Yeah, I've been sick too."
Hey, yeah.
It's a totally different strategy that we've never seen anyone come into A1 with.
Wait, I just thought of this, though. Hold on.
Rancho Reverso.
This might really be something.
Everyone's
Okay,
trying to be sick.
Wait, you guys laughed at me when I pitched this earlier.
this was a decent idea. Okay, doesn't everyone say that they're nervous as shit in Anaheim?
Yeah.
And they ride horribly?
Yeah.
But how many other times you heard riders say, the weird thing is when you're sick, sometimes you end up better in the main event because you have so little pressure. Is there a chance that the sickness neutralized Anaheim 1 nerves? Because honestly, if you watched Ken or Anderson ride, they look terrible. They look so tight.
Yeah, they did look tight.
They look tight.
Maybe it's like the opposite, where they were hiding injuries. Now they're like, "No, I'm sick. I'm ill. I've got a broken arm, and so don't expect anything on me." They go out and get third, and everyone's like, "Wow, that guy's awesome."
I mean, we're literally singing the praises right now of Webb for doing that. Maybe that gave him. Maybe being sick was the best thing that he could have ever done because he wasn't nervous like everybody
I was
else.
speaking with Jet Lawrence's dad, and he's been sick.
Yeah, I heard
was
it, yeah.
saying that his dad, I was like, maybe it's a good thing because he won't come out and expect to win now, because it'd be like, oh, okay, I'll
Yeah.
just get through this round. So his first Supercross, he isn't trying to win.
Yeah.
He's just trying to
He has
survive.
no pressure. He's just
So next round, he can come out and be like, oh, now
Yeah.
I've got it under my belt. I
Yep.
let it-
Cashew chicken.
Yeah, everybody ordered healthy. How
Check
about that?
Yeah.
Watch this healthy
salad.
It's
salad
good that
down
we
with a
got
beer.
the waitress in on this to
Cobb
say
salad.
these healthy foods. That
Lots of
we've all
salad.
ordered.
Yeah, really
We
improved
paid her
your-
to say that.
I'm really
Enjoy
glad
your
we got
pizza,
that
Bullmer.
yoga session over
How's
this
your
Yeah.
how's your double cheeseburger, Danny?
Yeah. Code.
So you're at, you're talking about
Yes.
if these guys are riding tight. Danny and I stand on this part of the floor where we can see about 3 feet of the track, so I can't actually comment on
Because you
how-
saw nothing?
Yeah, pretty much. I got the same shot every lap because I have this 3 foot window, and if I move out of that window, I'm like told to move back to my window.
Yeah, I heard access was a bit of a struggle. I don't think I got salad dressing.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Asking you, shall
I
we
think
see?
I heard you.
That's perfect.
Where's my salad dressing?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I got blasted. She heard me. Oh, so you couldn't see. I don't know. I feel like you could just tell people were not running well at all.
I met Tomac at arm pump. Like,
Yeah.
Like, A1's, and what's funny is we had RB talking about it, and he's like, dude, A1 is just a different beast, man. Like, he's like, you are nervous, man. You're tight. You're not, but he's like, that goes away. Once you get A1 out of the way. So, like, I think,
Trying to become yourself
I
again.
think fans think we just say that and make it up.
I've got this really unique quote that you can't win a championship,
All right.
but you can lose it.
Bullmer, I've never heard that.
Never heard this one.
Yeah,
You didn't even need to record it.
Think about it. Even your first day, 8th grade. Remember how like excited and nervous you would be? But second day, you don't have that anymore.
Yes. So Cooper Webb being sick, best thing ever, because he lost all that nervousness because he thought he would. The expectations were low.
Honestly, like, even the first race
Everybody gets sick next year.
you go to as like a journalist or whatever, like, I remember my first race, I was like, oh my god, I'm so nervous. Like, but then by the time you go to like 100, it's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but that's why I asked for you, Wes. You've gone to these guys' tracks 1,000 times. Thank you. But that first moment when you drive up the dirt road, you're still a little. I don't know how it's
Dude,
going to go
they
today.
just always have on days and off days.
Yeah.
And as you saw in episode 1 with Moto Spy that you haven't watched.
I did not see it.
Okay,
no.
well,
Yeah.
that day we showed up and Ken just wasn't having the best day, and you could tell he was like beating himself up over it. But he's like, we were there the week before shooting another project, but so we didn't really talk to Ken that much or get to watch him ride. But he's like, dude, all last week I felt so damn good. He's like, I felt like Superman. He's like, today I don't. He's like, I feel like I haven't trained a fucking day in my life.
People on the Vital Forum were talking about how bad he looked, but it's like, yeah, well, he was admitting to us he felt bad and was talking about how good he felt the week before we were there.
But that's where I give King credit, though. Like, most riders would not want that to come out. You know what I mean? Like,
It was an open book. He let us record that. He said it to the camera, or with the cameras around. He wanted it's really cool.
Oh, because I was just waiting for you to say
we had to cut.
he was doubly uncomfortable because he's like, I don't feel good and I don't want them to see it. But that wasn't an actual problem.
No,
What's really cool about this year is Ken and Steve Aspin have been like, you know what, guys, if you guys want to be around and shoot this, it's gonna make our sport better. Whoa, we're giving you the access. Ken's always been really good with us, but it seems like this year doesn't matter. Hey, good, bad, ugly, you guys shoot it. See what happens.
Wow.
And even his wife Courtney is just so freaking awesome. Blake Savage.
Yep.
So inviting and so awesome when we're around. It's not. I don't ever feel unwelcome around them. I guess is a great way to put it.
Here's a.
Not to say that there's not going to become moments that we don't, but
Well, yeah. Even the bad days in the off season, there's still optimism. After you have like 7 bad races, I don't know if the bad days.
Then you don't want to speak to people.
Okay, so this is the next thing because you've been to these tracks so much. Okay, somebody even in the press conference actually asked, like, "Hey, between you and Adam, who's faster?"
Yeah.
And Ken gave the standard line like, "Oh, it depends on the day," and that sounds like the biggest cop-out answer ever.
it totally does.
It actually is true, isn't it?
Hell, like the day that we
I
were
would say
there
it depends on the day.
in Moto Spy episode 1,
Really, truly.
Zacho was kicking the absolute shit out of Cooper. It didn't really come across in the episode. We didn't edit it that way.
Oh,
Dude,
nice.
Cooper,
Hatchet job.
Dude,
Hatchet.
yeah, right.
They even were joking about like how much better Zach was that day than
Yeah, like there was a quote that we weren't filming, but they said it in the gym. Zach's like, "Damn, Cooper, you gonna let me win a few this year?" And he goes, "Bro, if you keep riding like you did today, you're gonna kick my ass.
Right.
You're gonna
He
get
just
quite
had that covered.
I mean, if there's one thing I've noticed, they've all got their good and bad days. I mean, when I was shooting with AC 2 weeks ago, he was on fire, and I was saying everybody knew he was going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
And since that day was saying he's going to be an even bigger surprise than what people
Yeah.
are expecting. Like,
Yeah, Zach. He
maybe
off
I was
last
there
night,
for a
but-
good day. I don't know, but he
Right.
was unbelievable.
You just don't know if that was like that. Okay, so how weird then? Yes, I've seen it. I went to. Usually the press conference is on Thursday. This year they pushed it back because of the New Year's date. So I went to KTM Test Track before Anaheim 2017. Watch Anderson, Marv, and Dunn's ride. And Anderson killed them.
in the first moto that I watched.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I guess this is it. Like, Anderson's just got the edge. And then they did another moto later in the day. And then I think it was second best, and like Marv was better. And I was like, dude, and I don't have a stopwatch. I can just see. I'm like, Marv and Anderson literally flip-flopped in 1 hour. Who was the better guy? And I don't know if Dunge was ever the better guy. In the end, my first observation, I'm like, I'm finally at a test track. I'm finally seeing them ride. Now I know the truth. It meant nothing. Anderson was better for that 20 minutes only, and it didn't equate to
From
anything.
being around Ryan's last year, I remember always thinking he gets his pass handed to him at the Baker's factory. Never was I there that he was the fastest dude.
Never.
Everybody always seemed to be
That's
faster
like what
than him.
Cooper was saying the other day about being a second off the pace on one lap,
Oh,
but knowing that you've got what it takes when you need it.
don't give away all our Moto Spy
Yeah,
material.
that's why I said it pretty broadly.
All right.
No,
Make
it's
sure you
actually
guys
really
tune
cool.
in for episode 1. I mean 2.
Episode 1 for me.
So going back to the pressure thing at A1, heart ramped. That Ian and Cooper were talking about heart ramped and like his own, heart ramp's own expectations on himself
Yeah.
because he did so well at straight rhythm. He said like the bar was so high that
Because it's straight rhythm.
because of straight rhythm.
Seriously.
Yeah. And so Cooper was just telling him like the rookies in some instances were like faster than him on the sprint laps, and Cooper was like, dude, who cares? Even if they're a second faster than you a lap, you can go 15, 20. Can they go 15 or 20? So he's like, even if someone is a second faster than me a lap, I don't fret it. He's like, maybe I'll start fretting it about 7 laps in when I'm not catching them.
Right.
But they can push that limit or push it. But then by the last laps, they're they're a second back off that.
Right.
And then another second back.
And that's not being in better shape
Are we doing good?
Not
necessarily. That's not being in better shape necessarily. It's maybe the fact that if Cooper's not catching someone for a while, he doesn't freak out.
Yeah, he
And
just
doesn't start
knows when to
riding.
turn it up.
He doesn't start riding worse. Going,
He
oh my
just
god,
rides
it's not.
he knows he can ride that same exact pace the whole 20 minutes versus someone that's pushing the edge to be the second faster is going to make a mistake.
Right.
That's what I mean. He's Dungy, dude. Like he reminds me a lot of him. I'm not saying
Yeah.
they're the same guy, but like Dungy was just always there, dude. No matter what, and no matter against who, like he was
Yeah.
just there.
If you take anything out of Dungy's book, it's that, right? Nutrition.
Yeah, I mean, they're longer races than you kind of think they are. Like 20 minutes doesn't sound long, compared with outdoors, it's short.
Yeah.
But they're still long races. A lot can happen. You can still come from a long way back to win races. So you don't.
Oh yeah. It is hilarious. At the beginning of the year, every rider's like, well, this year you got to get a good start because everybody's so close.
Yeah. There's,
After about 8 laps last night, they weren't close.
No.
The gap between first and 10th was massive.
Do you
That's
think
every
that scares,
Supercross ever.
does that scare anybody? Like, that was a big lead they pulled.
But every race is like that.
Who would have predicted it though, like Barsha?
He was
but
on
it
a...
seemed like those two were trying to win, where the others were trying not to crash and.
They were the only two that
destroy
looked like they were riding somewhat normal. Like they both had no mistakes, I think, because they were actually trying.
pushing. Yeah.
Where everybody else was like, don't mess up.
Yeah.
Don't mess up. Don't mess
Do you
up.
think it's easier for Marshall though? Like to come in? I mean, he came in so under the radar. Everybody's like Ken, Tomac, Anderson, Rock.
Well, he'd have a chip on his shoulder. Like, even in the RaceX preview shows, nobody's picking Barsha to win.
No.
No, but what I
We've
mean
seen
is
him not do well
does that
for too
also
long.
Take the pressure off.
No, that's what I mean. It not only alleviates the pressure, but it puts a chip on his shoulder to say, I'm going to
Yeah,
prove
but then he
it.
put his pressure right back on himself by saying the bike is exactly how I wanted it. The bike is perfect.
Yeah.
It's all, you know, he pretty much said if it sucks, it's because of me.
It's true.
And well, it's good that he rode so well because now he can say, well,
Apparently, I'm a good tester.
everything I've
Yamaha,
done.
he
Yeah.
paid me after my career.
Right all along. I never thought Barsha would become the test guy. I think he was notoriously terrible
We're gonna
at
be
that.
going through some parts over there.
Yeah.
I also love that he's just like, yeah, I'm after riding how I want to ride. Everybody's always trying to change me.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yes. Like, I'm going to rev it. I'm sorry.
Someone did it in a
you see him over
podcast
the
after the
tunnel
race.
jump?
I don't know who it was.
He was
Some guy, random guy.
You guys watch.
He has some weird song at the beginning of his podcast.
You got to ask the good questions, guys.
I'm still waiting for that to sing.
Yeah.
Sing that.
Yeah, I guess we'll close
Those are
on
over beers later.
So we not even started the podcast yet because the song hasn't happened?
it. Yeah, wait, when's the intro?
I have the best idea ever. All right. Way back in the day, we used to do these highlight videos at Loretta's, and we used to take the audio from the bikes out of the 85cc class, and we would do the bike sounds ourselves in a group, in a room, and no one could ever tell that they were actually us, not the bikes. So maybe we need to have a group podcast song.
Yes.
Did you ever hear anyone? We literally used to do that, everybody. We'd have like a 3-minute highlight
It
of
was
the class.
85, 711.
We would remove the bike sounds, and we would all be in the room. There'd be 12 of us around there. Yeah, Mike going,
You would take Matt Michelle, yeah. I would be like,
yes. You would pick a guy. So if there were two guys battling, you had to pick up your guy's sound, and I would pick up my rider's sound.
there was like 20 of us in the room for the start.
The start.
And everybody knew.
And no one ever noticed. No one ever realized those are human voices doing two strokes.
You've just told a lot of people Santa Claus doesn't exist.
Yeah, right. Oh God, hope you're not listening, kids. It does. He does.
He does exist, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, he does.
It's YouTube, man. You gotta say if the video is appropriate for kids or not. No, so we're good.
Mature audiences only.
So was it more difficult for you to shoot because those opening jitters and everything, or at this point they just so used to you guys that it doesn't even.
Yesterday, pretty much everybody except Kim asked us to keep our distance.
Hey, quick break here. Yoshimura-RD.com. Yoshimura, our title sponsor of this, and also check out RacerX Online and RacerX Magazine if you want all the latest on Supercross, Motocross, and everything else. Now back to Anaheim One Talk and how nervous these guys are.
It was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, A1's always different, every year.
No way.
A1 high pressure deal.
So there it is.
Even Carlos, Coop's mechanic, was
Who's normally cool.
Yeah.
I'll bring the mic over. He goes, "You want to do that this weekend?" I guess it's turn opening. Where's the mic? Wes just handed me the mic and told me to put it on. He's like,
Wes.
"You right now?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "How about next week?" I'm like,
Well, we had already gotten permission. We just hadn't gone over there. We're kind of like letting them have their space. I was like, we'll just do it during opening ceremony. And he's like, dude, can we please not do it this weekend?
I loved having to be that guy.
And I was like, are you sure?
Yeah, I got sent in on that one.
What's funny is after the race, I went up to him and I was like, now you understand why I wanted you to wear the mic? I was like, I bet we just missed tons of gold audio. You were probably telling me he had the heart of a lion. He gave him this big speech that I know you just did. And he goes, yeah, I know, I just gave him a good one. I was like, exactly. And the whole world just missed it because you wouldn't put on the microphone.
Thanks a lot, Carlos.
You told him this.
Yeah. And I was like, you're just as big a character as the riders a lot of times. Like, you're the heart and soul of what Coop is of the race. So I was like, I hope you understand, like, me asking you to put a mic on, whether the pressure's high or low.
Yeah.
It's so people can see what's going on mentally with you, with him, and obviously with Carlos. There's something. He's a championship builder. Whatever he does, he's magic. Yep. Just as much as whatever Coop brings to the table, I feel like. Look at his pedigree.
Like that whole group itself, I feel is like very underrated. Like, I know Alden gets a lot of credit, Roger gets a lot of credit, but like you got Ian Harrison,
dude, there's a Carlos in there. Carlos has to be part of that winning strategy that's overlooked.
Because he was with Dungy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all of those together, all those pieces together.
Yeah.
Like,
and those moments after the race are just so heartwarming too. Like hearing whatever he did say. I'm sure it was awesome. And I was joking, but I was serious. Like, the world just missed out on probably the most epic pep talk or like congratulation.
Whatever he said yesterday.
I'm sure it was all like Cooper pulling his helmet off, looking like he was about to throw up. Like, just his face just looked so bad.
The steam coming off his head.
So, and like, hopefully the boom got it. I haven't listened to the audio yet, but we still might have the
you
audio.
said no, and you just did it anyway.
Well, no, we have the boom.
We have a boom.
He didn't want to wear the mic, so then we just put the mic over him.
So we just put the mic over him.
Not wearing the mic
You
doesn't
said
mean
no, but
But you're still getting mic.
He doesn't control his airspace. He controls his body, but airspace around him, that's ours.
Hey, airspace is open game for
We
anybody.
own your airspace.
So you guys could be in the damn stands with like a 300-foot long boom.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is Hartcraft would be looking at it the whole time because wait till you go through the footage.
Yeah, no, he kept looking up at the boom
You know,
like, what is that?
squirrel. He was constantly like mid-conversation, every 10 seconds, like, Like, just
That's
so
hilarious.
distracted by the poop hole the whole time.
I couldn't
I'm
tell
like,
if he
man, I
was
hope-
looking at it because he wanted us to get it away. But I
Yeah,
was
or
like,
if he was just like straight up distracted by it.
Right.
I think he's distracted. I mean, this is not something he's probably
You just got this thing
Ever?
dangling, the dead cat coming
not
down
used
from.
to it.
He's
just
never done
tapping on
it.
his head.
he's probably saying, "What is that?
Yeah, right.
What is this?
Why is this guy?
Gold sound.
That's it.
Why
worry
is
about
this guy holding an ornament above my head?
It's like one of those
It's like a dead cat.
cat toys. Yeah. Swatting at it.
I'm surprised he didn't.
Right. Swatting at it.
One of the things we weren't able to shoot last night, though, with not being down at the gate, but like last year, one of the coolest things I took away from it was Cooper on the starting line. From the moment he picks his gate and sits on his bike, it's like freakishly, like he is so focused on the first turn. He just sits there and like his eyes don't move. Like Kenny and them looking around and whatnot. Cooper is just like tacked in on that first turn,
Okay.
just
Yeah, it's great. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
until it's time to put his goggles on, and then it's
Good news, boys. We're recording a podcast, so I think this was a business lunch.
No,
This was a business
no.
one.
Is it really?
I mean, I had to do it for business
Can we
purposes.
still get beer?
snooze you lose, Chase.
Dang it!
What sucks for
I
Chase
should
is
have started drinking early.
what sucks for Chase is you ordered a salad just to sound cool on the podcast, and you had like 3 bites and sent it back, and then now he's not going to eat lunch today.
I'm washing down a hard-boiled egg with an IPA.
Yeah,
No,
I know that
Wes will tell
everyone
you, all I do is
thinks that
drink coffee and eat like fruit. Okay.
My girlfriend Aubrey the other day goes, "Have you noticed Chase doesn't really eat that much?" And I was like, "No, but I don't know a guy would ever notice that." She goes, "But he does drink a lot of coffee."
really that's just
No, they just live off coffee.
That's a perfect.
I've been like shaking.
Healthy.
Oh, I had
much
2 all
coffee this
morning,
morning.
dude. We drank like 6 cups because I was so tired. I'm like,
yeah, it finally caught up to me.
She's a crazy nurturer though, so like she keeps asking Chase, "Hey, do you want a sandwich?"
No way.
And
she's
she-
like the Moto Spy mom of the house, dude. She packs on, like, packed us a bunch of fruit and nuts.
Did you eat the fruit?
You guys aren't taking care of You morons aren't taking care of anything like that.
No, God, no.
No, we show up to the race and don't eat until 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Because
100%. Not even
again, we
thinking
should have
about it.
packed some snacks.
No, thank you,
Exactly.
TLD, yesterday for the tacos. TLD.
They look good.
And despite Aubrey packing us snacks yesterday, I forgot they were in the car, and then once we got in the place, we couldn't get back out to go get them. So
And then at press day, she also packed the snacks, and we forgot all about them until 4 o'clock when we were driving home. And we're like, oh, we had protein bars the whole time. I was over there drinking like 12 cups of coffee.
Everyone thinks that all the mechanics, there's this myth out there that like the sport's changed a lot as far as mechanics are concerned. Mechanics used to literally do everything, like they drove the box fan, and then the bikes even varied depending on who your mechanic was. He could do his own mods. So like the mechanic was probably half the team as a mechanic. Nowadays, there are some mechanics that are just like, you just build these parts, and they probably barely even know the rider or talk to the rider. Now, they're all going to say that, oh, the mechanic's so important. I can tell you some of them are not. Some of them are just parts changers. Yeah. And he could be gone that weekend or replaced, and it would make no difference.
Some are, though.
Yes, but there are some, and I honestly didn't know. I'm like, maybe Carlos just happened to be Millsap's mechanic, and maybe he happened to be Dungeon's mechanic. I don't know if he was like part of it or he just happened to be there. But
I'd say luck of the draw, but realize that he had something special.
now I know.
He's an integral part.
Now from talking to him last year, and then I guess what you're saying this year, I'm like, oh, okay, he really was an integral part. He wasn't just the guy assigned to work with Dungy. But that's all leadership.
but him
Somebody
getting-
hired him for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he got the luck of the draw getting assigned Dungy, but whatever meshed there, whatever meshed before and whatever's
Someone at
meshing now.
KTM who's smart is like, that's the mechanic we want on this team.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're never going to see him. Marv's out. But Frankie's the same way. Like, oh my God,
Frankie
Marv and
is
Frankie are...
Frankie's the best character that we don't have this year.
Yeah,
I love Frankie.
saw that last year in the show.
absolutely.
And there was even more times that we didn't make it in. Like, you can only show so much stuff in an episode, right? But Frankie was always the best. And like, we probably had a really good relationship with him and Carlos, but we'd all bullshit with him after the race when they get the microphones. Mm-hmm. And we hear what they're saying all day, and like, we'll comment on things that they say, and they'll give us insight. And I always applaud them, like, dude, like, I I get jacked up over some of the shit you say.
They really do know their stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like a mechanic, yes.
They got to be a mechanic, friend,
confidant,
like everything, like so much of this.
father figure.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Some of these kids, like Jet Lawrence was 16. Like his mechanic, like not saying he doesn't obviously has a father and all that, but like like his mechanic, like Will Hahn says this a lot, where like he's like, dude, riders call me and are like, oh, I got a girl problem, or like, you know what I mean? Like, they have to handle this stuff because. A lot of these kids aren't that kids. 17 years old living in California by themselves. And they're like, how do I do insurance? How do I do bank account? Like
They want to text their girlfriend
like
while they're on the starting line.
yes, apparently.
Apparently. Yeah, I think we all know that mechanics are like that, but I know for sure they're not all.
No,
Not
but
every
that's what
mechanic is
separates
that.
a good mechanic from a regular.
Because sometimes you have the practice mechanic who is that, and then the main mechanic is
That's-
just
you're right.
Because same with Ken, like his practice mechanic Peyton, amazing, and I think Ken relies so much on his friendship, guidance, and bike skills as a mechanic for Ken's confidence to be where it is. So when we're there,
No one even knows that guy. No one even knows this guy.
Through Moto Spy, they would.
Like with us.
Today?
Yeah.
All right.
But
He's in Moto Spy, but you're right. They probably don't know much about him or know his story.
No, I mean Oscar was the guy at the races, so that knew, and now Jordy is the guy at the races, right? The practice mechanic is for the most part not seen.
Right.
But you can tell just by really at say Baker's Factory, I don't really notice mechanics being as big a part as what Peyton is to Ken during the week.
Right.
And I'm not saying they're not, maybe, because we were only there for a small window. It's not like I go and hang out all
We
day.
hang out at Sandbox, like we hang out before and after because Peyton's so cool.
Yeah. And we're like really welcomed there.
Like at Baker's Factory, you kind of show up, do what you got to do, and
I think there's a difference. I've been to both. Alden's cool. Totally cool.
Oh, for sure.
But I think you do always feel like the CEO, dad of the operation is there. Whereas, so even if the riders are cool with you hanging out, you're like, oh, I hope Alden's staying is fine, but I hope he's not like, okay, guys,
Get out. Yeah.
But at Sandbox, they don't really have that figure, so it's like, as long as Ken and his mechanic are cool, you don't have to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
They don't have that management layer above them. Like, is the owner of the company going to come in and be like, all you guys stop jacking around?
Which Jason Baker, of course, would never do. He'd be like, oh, what are you doing? You want to spend the night?
But remember, Jason Baker operates it, but he's not their trainer.
Yeah, he's not their trainer.
It's not his job to make them do whatever they're supposed to do. He's just giving them a facility.
So yeah, it's a totally different dynamic even for us showing up to do that. You're right.
Right.
And I would say it's probably the same thing at the factory test tracks, right? Where it's like, sometimes it's like, hey guys,
Yeah, Keogh's there.
we actually want to, do some things we don't want you guys shooting.
Well, the more people that are there, the more people that more chance that one guy is going to go, I don't want to win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, if you're on a big team, there's 20 people, then someone's going to go, maybe I don't want these
Cool
people
bit of
here.
insight then. Honda, we on press day, we arranged it with Mandy and Eric to go in and meet with them, Jeremy and I, from Red Bull, to go meet with them about having a little bit more access because Ken's such an open book this year. We want to make sure Honda's cool with it at the races.
Good point.
And Eric and a few of the representatives from HRC are there, and all of them love this idea about trying to grow the sport bigger, giving the access, letting us see the stuff that you don't normally get to see. Granted, growing into it, not like full access round one, right? Because there's so much pressure, but like as the season goes on and we find our rhythm and pace, you guys do what you want to do. If we're having a talk up here, you guys come and shoot it. And I thought that was so damn cool to sit there and hear them say.
I'm shocked.
That, well, they watched the F1 series, and Jeremy's whole argument is like, hey, if F1 can do this,
Yeah,
I ran into the rig yesterday because Ken was going to be reviewing tapes and Kehoe was sitting in there. And for a minute I was like, oh shoot, I don't know. I was just kind of sent over here. It's not like I was invited in from what I knew. But no awkwardness or nothing. Just like, oh yeah, he'll be here in a minute. I was like, all right, cool.
And
I guess I'll
credit to
just chill and wait.
TOD too, man. Like,
Yeah.
TOD is like
Open book too.
open book, man. Like, I mean, you obviously didn't watch episode 1, but like, we went to a coffee shop and asked Tyler and Keith some really tough questions. Dude.
And probably a lot of tough questions that didn't even make it in.
They did. I mean, dude, we have probably
good.
hours worth of
Hat
footage.
job again.
Yeah,
job, guys.
an hour's worth of footage that.
They got a
Yeah.
phone call later saying, don't put that in.
That's right.
No, he didn't though. He didn't. Like,
You had to just cut it down to whatever episode it is.
yeah, you got to cut it. I mean, because look, they're 20-minute episodes. Like, we can't run an hour-long conversation. Like,
That's for a podcast.
that's for a
for this.
podcast. That's for
There is
this.
no ESPN like constantly recording
Yeah.
motocross
Hey,
shows.
Red Bull, maybe you guys should pay for a Red Bull Moto Spy podcast.
The labor would be so easy. You just literally.
No, it wouldn't. It would take hours and
Oh,
hours
yeah.
and hours.
A lot of
You're right.
people.
Yeah.
Maybe add some
Lot of
staff.
equipment.
Well, we would probably get a little bit better equipment than what this is.
We need
Whatever.
That was $200.
It would probably take us a lot of setup time with equipment,
so
rendering.
So many
9
beers to drink during it.
So, yeah.
proper catering would take.
Red Bull
would be
Moto Spy
expensive.
podcast sounds pretty
Hope you're
good.
listening to this, Jeremy.
Your staff is going to have Danny Stewart, STAUAURT, and also Stuart Daniel will be on staff. Danny Stewart,
What they call it in
STEWART.
union works, non-shows or
Yeah,
something.
Bullmer, David. We just had to double the staff, so the budget.
Budget just grew really hard.
So, wow, that F1 thing really changed some views of like
I
what
think from Sion Cerullo to Eric Kehoe to a lot
AC
of these
watched
guys
it.
seeing.
the F1
Yeah,
thing.
of course,
He mentioned
of course
this.
Adam did.
Well, of course he would, yes.
Well, to Astafin too.
Yeah.
I think it changed a lot of it.
They've referenced that F1 series.
Yeah, the whole time.
Really?
What's great, I love, is our Moto Spy came out before the
I
F1
know.
series did. But I think the F1 series helped us find a bit deeper of a direction. Because if you go back and look how easy, I want to say, Moto Spy episode 1 was last year.
Well, remember, we were showing up with the new idea, and the first time we went and shot with these guys, we had like a small footprint. We didn't want to like come in too hot,
Yeah.
and we kind of just like
Figured out what.
imposed a little more and more each time, and kind of figured out what they were going to be down with.
And now they're more and more comfortable. Because I'm sure you remember episode 1 last year when Cooper was like, we need to go get the suspension off fucking Baggett's setting. And we even ran the F-bomb and everything. And I was waiting for Cooper to text me and be like, what the fuck, man, why'd you put that in there? And we saw him next time. He was like, I don't care. I said it.
Yeah, he did so bad after like a heat race or something. So I was, forced in the tent to get his pissed off reaction coming back in. And the next week in the hotel, I ran into him and I was like, hey man, just want to let you know, like, I hate myself as much as you hate me when I'm that guy
It's a
doing
recurring
that.
theme.
And he said, it's all good, man. I know it comes with the territory. You're just doing what you gotta do.
Notice a recurring theme. Whenever anything awkward has to
Yeah,
be done,
send Danny.
D-Stew seems to be the one that gets the assignment.
Hey, if I'm the one that has to stay up late night editing, someone else got to put themselves in an awkward situation.
Yeah, how can you hate this face? Is that what you're saying? How can you hate this face?
Hey, I'll take it.
He's such a little nice guy.
Sorry, Cooper. Sorry, Carlos.
Yeah, I just
sorry, Eric
apologize
Kehoe.
to everybody.
Yeah, he just goes in and apologizes to everyone.
Disarms them.
I'm apologising before I do anything. So.
Disarming them.
You know, there's definitely some pretty awkward times that I'm like, let's none of us go in.
Example last night, where it was like, let's not push the limits on the first race. We got 16 more rounds and 16 more weeks we got to be around.
And we got so much gold already. It was like, let's not blow our wad anyway. It's like, let's wait till the shit gets real.
The fact that you say that it's gotten better since episode 1 last year, to me, the fact that you had Webb asking Carlos, can we get Baggett settings? And Carlos is like, yeah, we can. Like, that's the whole thing to me. Like, that's the best example of the access that you're getting.
We just figured out how to get that a lot more.
Once you put that in,
okay.
people know that it's real.
Yeah.
Because they know he wouldn't just be saying that.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't dare just pretend that he
Well,
wouldn't.
now that you finally watched an episode after a whole year, it's
Yeah,
being
Bullmer
out.
also watched 0 episodes last year.
Okay, so I don't have to feel bad about this.
But I would hope the style.
Bullmer was in like
Internet's bad
Bali
where
or
I
something,
was.
so it's hard to get internet.
Internet's bad where I was.
All around the world.
The whole year.
Literally.
You learn what's okay and what's not too. I won't say who, but I did get kind of yelled at once for
Shocking.
shooting too much or something.
Yeah,
At a race, you're doing
you learn your boundaries.
You learn your boundaries.
Yeah, yeah.
Normally by people shouting at you.
Don't let it be known.
Got called out pretty
But
good
what's
once.
cool though is like we'll let the team see it to a certain
If it's
degree
something
and
that-
have input. Like especially if like they're
It's
just
gnarly.
really, if they're emotional or they're talking about settings or technical stuff, they
Yeah.
wanted to see that and make sure, like, oh, it's not some proprietary thing that we're
Right.
giving away some secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
what I just referenced was like episode 1 or something last year, like when we were still building their trust. Now that hasn't happened since.
Will you let them make the call sometimes though? Like, hey,
I mean, there's very few times that anybody says anything, but yeah, like even in this last episode, there was one settings bit that we
Yeah.
had to take out. And I don't know why. Nobody would ever know
yeah,
what spring, fork rate, what. There's so many variables that,
right.
or what day. Like, I don't know why it matters, but I'm like, all right, if it makes you comfortable that this is out, then we'll take
And
it
to
out.
be honest, it wasn't even that big of a part of like of the episode.
It was more just like B-roll, hearing them talk about things.
Right. So for you, it didn't
It
matter.
was like,
Well, go ahead. But if Tyler Keefe is going to go and sit down and have coffee with us and talk about Shane McElrath and real honesty and talk about the team last year and talk about all this, and he wants a little piece of 2 seconds where
Yeah,
he talks
yeah.
about it setting out, yeah, you take it out. Like,
Okay.
is it really? It doesn't affect the show, right? Like
That seems to be like the most common thing that they don't
Pick your
want
battles.
included is settings talk. Like when I was at
yeah. Yeah.
either way, just settings. But that doesn't even matter to me because, like, I don't know, maybe some people care about settings, but like, I don't.
Nobody
It's
does.
more just gibberish in the background for us. It's like just
Nobody does. Dude.
So being told that we can't have that is not a big deal. to me.
People don't care about that stuff, and the proof is when we talked about Barsha earlier, we were like, maybe it was because he was the underdog, maybe because he had a chip on his shoulder. Do you think anybody is like, all Barsha talked about is that they changed his bike a ton. No one wants to talk about that stuff, even though there's a really good chance that the real reason he rode better was nothing to do with mental or chip on the shoulder or underdog. It was some mapping or some shock setting. Nobody wants to talk about that stuff. It's not cool. It's not fun.
Yeah, can you tell us exactly what you did?
well, I think
Most people would be like, "That's boring." I prefer the chip on the shoulder narrative than the.
We're,
he has
we are
different
making it up.
forks.
It's more relatable because I don't know enough about bikes to really make any
Yes.
sense of all this
Yep.
suspension talk.
well, there's a couple
And I don't
reasons.
know where he's coming from to where he is now. So when he says he makes it stiffer or whatever, like, what
Yeah,
does that
people
say?
just don't-
Well, one, they're
Like
not
that.
going to give you enough information for you to make a rational decision on, like, does
Yeah.
this really matter? Two, most people don't care.
They don't care.
Three, most people, except aside from Mathis and Kiefer and those guys,
Yeah.
don't know enough to even, like, I can tell you right now.
Really,
when I
does
worked
it matter
in
like his spring rate? Like, does
Well,
it
that's what I
affect-
don't-
Does it affect anybody?
At the
Does-
base
is
of
he
this
like-
conversation, that's what I don't understand why it's such a feels like it's such a proprietary conversation. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like Yamaha's totally different bike than Honda. What if we said the spring rate was 2.25?
right, yeah.
Like they don't even know what spring it is,
Does
what length it is.
matter? Like
get
he
so
rides
much
at
other
this,
good
he rides at that. Does it matter that one's different? Like, are they going to go? Oh, suddenly this rider rides it here,
But-
so you should.
But like Danny said, who cares? Nobody. It doesn't
Nobody
matter
really
to
wants
anybody,
that
So
because
for us to lose
We got
that
so much other
element-
good stuff to even imagine using, sparing 20 seconds to talk about suspension settings versus all the other gold we shot yesterday. It was like,
Right. I'll give
people
up
just don't
20
care.
seconds.
but then they come over, they're like, hey, don't use any of that. It's like, trust me, we weren't going to
we're
use
going
it.
to. People don't want. No one was leaving the building yesterday truly being like, I wish I could know exactly what those bike changes
They
Porsche was
went
talking
up
about. They want to know the mental
two
side.
clicks on the high speed.
Yeah.
They came down 1.5 on the low speed, and they did. They
Yeah.
changed the sag 0.5 millimeters.
So I said, like,
Was that really interesting, guys?
that was right.
I have no idea what you just said.
He has a chip on his shoulder because in our previous show we didn't talk about him. Dude, very unfortunately, like, okay, Tomac gets discussed to death over the mental stuff, and there is a good chance that a lot of the times it really just is the settings and the bike, but no one wants that. They want to discuss the mental side because, as you said, Danny, like that's the only part we can, like most people can understand. We don't know the difference on a Supercross track.
And we can
of
have
those
opinions
changes.
about mental stuff.
Because everyone's dealt with it in our life. Yeah.
We all have good days and bad days, but
Yeah.
they're just not allowed to have bad days.
We felt pressure to some degree in our lives, so when we think about pressure, like I can relate to that.
That's
But
a
we
good
do
point,
not
Dan.
know.
Ken Roxon wasn't allowed to have a bad day when we were there filming because
Yeah.
people were judging Ken based off
Well,
like
that's like Bullmer and I were joking about, we could write an article that said Ken Roxton saves dogs on the way to surfing, and then there's going to be people commenting that he should be training every day
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not saving
Yeah.
dogs on the way to
Yeah,
surfing. You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
Think about that when you're getting sixth.
yeah.
Saving
Like,
dogs,
think about that when you're
scumbag.
getting six
You should
saving
have saved
dogs.
4 less dogs this week, man. You should have been training.
Yeah, you should not be. Yeah. So
I see it like
they
so.
can't win sometimes, to be honest.
No.
Like,
I've yeah, exactly. Because I saw a tweet from somebody last night. It's like, Jet Lawrence, exactly what the sport needs. He's not cookie cutter, and I'm like, you know who's not cookie cutter? Austin Forkner's not cookie cutter, and most people are like, shut your mouth, you're too cocky.
Justin Cooper's not cookie cutter.
And people, they always say they don't want cookie cutter until they're stopped being cookie cutter.
Until they say something that they
That's
don't
been your
like and then they hate them. So.
That's been your thing, Chase, forever. They say they don't want cookie cutter. Most people are like, when Forkner cut the track, there was this explosion on Twitter, and it was not just because he cut the track. Because people hate Forkner because they think he's too cocky. And I'm like, I thought you didn't want cookie cutter. Yeah. I thought you didn't want it.
I love cocky.
Yeah. I thought you didn't want
Like Cooper losing the cockiness.
I know, it's been a shame.
Kinda
It's been a shame. Yeah. Yes, Cooper Webb lost the cockiness. You told me that they kind of beat it out of him last year. You told me some stuff about that, like, don't act like that. Because Dunge doesn't act like that. And they like the Dunge
Champions
program.
don't act like that.
Yes.
Champions don't need other people
Trying to kill
to have
them
a target on.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're better than them. Like, what are they going to do? Like,
Yeah, that's a real minor
you when you
detail.
lap them?
It's a real minor detail, right?
If you want to be a
chances that it's-
championship, it's going to be harder with the target on your back.
Yeah, but
They
you
should
don't
all
think-
have a target on their back.
Wait,
If you
wait.
try
That
to beat
makes
them.
0 sense. You don't think Cooper Webb's coming into this championship with a target on his back? Everyone on that.
Maybe less so if he is talking shit.
But I'm telling you though, like you think Jason Anderson going up against him, he's like, well, Cooper Webb's been talking crap, so I'm not going to try to beat him this race.
Yeah, I really
He's
don't
still
know.
trying to freaking.
But you might be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, like the Hill Sansarillo thing. Like, maybe he doesn't like that.
I have talked to Carlos about this, and he says anytime it escalates, it's never positive.
Not for the
Nothing
top.
good has ever come out of any two riders doing that. Like running into each other or hating each other never results in a positive for either guy.
And that's probably what Carlos does. He knows how to de-escescalate the situation.
No,
as
he
soon as
said
it
he's done
happens.
it. Like with
Right
Cooper.
there in Cooper's ear.
Yeah. Yep. He's like, he's not one. He's like, I was with Davey and Dunge. Did you ever see them do that ever? He's like, because for both guys, it never ends up better that this happened.
But how many times did Dungeon
For them, anyways. What about us? Do they
I
think,
know. What
do they
about
think about
Thank
us?
you. Damn it. Yeah, what about
Dungeon got
We're
criticized
standing around all day waiting for it.
for not going after them enough?
for not going after people enough.
It's true. Actually, Dunge might have been better off when he'd be in fourth place and would not pass someone.
wouldn't pass him.
Because he did not know how to pass them.
Right.
He's too scared.
Too scared to like barely bump somebody.
That's a good point.
It worked out for him.
Oh, sure. I mean, it did. I mean, I'm not criticizing. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It is easy to say
I
that
said
now,
he
yeah.
took criticism for it. Not
did.
for me personally.
I have a somewhat off-topic question.
We need to move on from Moto Spy, yes.
Off-topic question for you. So you ask us about if we have any jitters rolling up to the race, or
No, rolling up to their track, I think, is the gnarlier part.
but not just. But you're basing it off of the rider's mindset that they're whatever. But how about just the fact that like we're there to kind of do a job, and like as you've known that I drop the ball quite often.
Oh, what if you screw up your job that day?
What if I screw up?
That's a
So
good
my
point.
question for you though is like, you're rolling up to do announcing for the day. Do you not have jitters just to make sure you do a good job?
The TV thing is actually the least jitters because I have the best staff. Like at outdoors, I'm not nervous at all because I know they're not going to drop the technical ball. Right. But when I got to be the only guy there for Racer X, and I'm like, dude, if this recorder just breaks, or this GoPro doesn't work, or what if at 3 o'clock my laptop takes a dump? That's it. There will be no work done that day. And that's
history with technology.
yeah, my history of technology is that. How lucky are we that the laptops don't do that?
Or
I mean,
cameras.
I'm sure you've had it happen, but it's probably not.
I've blown a power bank from my laptop on like Sunday morning at the beginning of the weekend.
No. What? I said I forgot to hit record and turn the mics on with you.
Mine,
Oh yeah, you have.
Mine was a PC, so I don't have you don't have the same power.
See, if you had an Apple, you'd be able to borrow
Yeah, I
one.
could have borrowed one.
Yeah.
So this
Yep.
is in Qatar. So I had to leave the track in
Did
Qatar.
Best Buy?
They had a supermarket mall,
They did.
big mall, and
Okay.
I had to go to there and
Yeah.
buy a new battery pack for this laptop.
They had it.
They had it. And luckily, I was in Qatar because it's near a city. But if I'd been in Bulgaria, then
Oh, forget it.
Yeah.
Over a lot of motocross
Would
tracks
have
are.
gone and gotten a new laptop.
Yep.
I probably would have had to go to a new laptop.
Well, I've thought about that. I'm like, if that day comes, would I just go to a store and buy a $1,500 or $2,000 mat right?
You wouldn't. Most people would.
For work purposes, no, I know what you mean though. It is a job, and you only get one chance to do it. You can't do it the next day.
Yeah.
You have to get it when it counts, and I get more worried about that. TV, that's probably not going to happen. I'm not worried about I'm not going to drop an F-bomb in the air. I don't think I'm going to say anything about some guy's wife being hot and get hashtag me too. I think I'm good. But I do worry about that.
But that's however long you've been doing it, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Was those first couple years, they had to be nerve-wracking. There's no way you went in with that kind of...
I'll be honest. I was only nervous one time, and it was the very first race I did, which is Glen Helen 09, because I had all these people telling me how hard it would be. The big gap was, oh, dude, but you've never done TV live. Wait till someone's in your ear.
Right.
And the guys at Speed, Rick Miner, who was the president, was like, no, we don't train people on the air. I don't want this dude. I don't want him. And Davey had to go to war, and that pissed off Supercross because it was Davey had to this all these angles of this is why I want to use my guy. And then they took it as an insult to well, we already have people. Are you saying our people suck? So there was all this. So there was literally I think this group at Speed basically saying we can't wait till this guy screws up
So we can get him
out of here and prove we know better what's good for TV. And then guys who later became my friends, like our producer Chris Bond, I think they all were is this guy any good? They definitely weren't on my side. I think they were we'll see, but let's make it difficult on him to see if he can handle it. Dude, it was not even hard.
I love how you say that. I think it would be hard for.
And then they literally in practice that morning, kept saying stuff in my ear, just to try to screw me up. And I'm like, is that all you got? Yeah, I can. What? Okay, you were a 17-year-old kid, Wes Williams, forever. You were 17 for 10 years. You just wanted your chance. Yeah. You didn't think if you give me the credential and I get on the other side of this fence and you let me shoot, I'll probably do a horrible job. Did you think that?
No, I think, and as you're saying this whole time, I don't get nervous about my talent rolling into the track. I might be nervous about how the mood will be, but there's never one day that I roll up nervous about, am I going to get good enough shots today?
No.
There's never a question of that. So same with you. You're not rolling up because you're nervous, am I going to do a good job today?
Right.
It's expected you're going to do a good job.
That's why I want the job. Right. I was trying to convince you guys for 10 years I could do a live TV show. Of course I think I could do a live TV show. That's why I wanted to do it for 10 years. So that's the difference. The technical stuff can happen, and it is weird to think that we're literally on we're 1 inch away all the time from if the laptop slips off the table with the card in it. Oh God.
And think about us on our side, we have everything from lenses, batteries, mics, lapels, the amount of shit.
Yeah.
Next week, flying to St. Louis to shoot. I don't know. There's pressure. Want to make sure I come back and I crushed it.
I will say that if I go by myself and the expectations there, and it's I just hope I can meet the expectations.
I don't want to make you too nervous by admitting how freaking nervous I am.
No, it is.
With these two, I don't know, man.
You just hope
it's very risky.
But that's why you hire these two, because he has the intuition to know where and when to be to get the right stuff. If you hire an outside company that knows nothing about what they're doing, think about all the missed moments. Are they going to do a good job? Maybe, maybe not. But are they going to miss a shitload of moments that they just would otherwise have no clue to be there for?
All right, this is perfect. So now we can transition to the topic I really want to talk about for the last hour, which wasn't friggin' a Moto Spy plug. It was how this all came to be, which is 17-year-old kid Wes Williams video guy, and then eventually found other 17-year-old Wes Williams-like guys.
Danny was 15.
You were 15.
Ryan Walters was, 14?
Yeah, Wes and I have been working together since 2000.
Ryan would have been 17 when we brought him on.
Ryan was 17?
That's what I want. This crew. And that wasn't
so it's still kind of a Moto Spy plug. And this is still the baseline. It's still Moto Spy.
Well, this is what it came to be. You didn't necessarily plan. Yes, it's the crew that does Moto Spy, everybody.
You guys didn't know yet.
Search on YouTube right now. Search on YouTube right now.
You can't look up their names because I don't get credit for it.
Search on YouTube right now. By the way, I'm trying to pay the bill here. They won't. Do they just know that I won't do it?
Yes, they know we still have an hour podcast.
They're listening.
The place is packed. They need to get us out of here. Yeah, so you were just wanted to shoot video. I don't think, did any of you think and eventually it could be a team thing? You were just,
every year I'm still surprised at what it becomes.
Yeah, that wasn't.
We just keep growing and growing and growing.
But the goal was, you just wanted to shoot your own videos, Wes. You were not thinking of building a team, were you?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm sure you weren't. You just wanted to do your own thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I did Go Creations, and I loved, even from the get-go, I started doing videos and putting it online this well before YouTube. And then as soon as I did that, Robo Rob up in Connecticut hit me up and was like, can I put my videos on your website? Because at that point in time, you couldn't get a website with bandwidth.
Oh, no. How did you have a website with bandwidth?
Just money back then, because you had to pay for all your bandwidth.
You just spent it.
Yeah, but I remember melting down like some server of the very first person I had, and he's like, hey man, I haven't been charging you for this. It's some dude out of South Africa, and he's like, I just loved what you're doing, so I've been like supporting this whole time, but like you're melting my server down, so I got to figure out how to do something about this. And then it was like, hey, can you afford like $500 a month for me for the server space? And I'm like, dude, what? No, I can't even have $500. I live with my mom, dude. I'm 17. So I don't remember what happened after that, but going back to like Rob, started putting his stuff on there. Then I met Danny Stu that same way. Like everybody found this like little niche dirt bike website that was doing videos.
What was it called? This is Go Creations?
Yeah.
Okay.
And everybody's sending me videos because I host them, and it was the only place you'd be able to go watch the NESC 2003 video, highlight video that Robo Rob did.
But there was not YouTube.
Yeah. So everybody's going here to find the videos, and like, I don't know. I never realized like, oh, this web thing might become something one day, like sell advertising. I think at like 05, I ended up voicing for some valves for my bike, and I was like, hey, I'll put a banner ad on one of my videos online or whatever, and they sent it to me for free. And I think at that moment, I remember it clicking like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah, there wasn't any business particular plan. You got free reads.
Yeah,
that's what did it.
Voicing.
Free boys and reads.
Yeah. The V2, they were like V2s from like KTM 125.
So yeah, these dudes were coming at you. Robo Rob, Danny here, Walter's.
So yeah, even Danny, I think it was 07 Loretta's.
07.
So we'd already done MX Sports Center for a few years.
Yeah.
And like everybody at that point in time was like, oh, hey, Loretta's, like we can get on with Wes, and they could be one of the camera guys for the MX Sports Center show. Because remember, the first year was me and Crutch. We shot and edited everything.
Oh my God, Crutchfield.
The second year, I think Robo Rob came down and helped.
Really?
Or maybe I don't know. We had a few. Maybe it was 07 when Robo Rob started.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. But there was a few other people that started trickling in slowly but surely.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, I can start divvying up these motos, let them go do it. We'll edit the whole time, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then 07 Danny came down, and that's kind of when we didn't start Vurb quite yet, but.
Well, it was Allegiance when we were going down, but Vurb started like a month before Loretta's.
Yeah.
Like I was like
Ponca the week before actually, the official launch. For unofficial
was
like
Ponca.
Yeah.
Well, you missed the part of Wes and Brent, a brother, working at Moto Playground.
Oh, we pay up there?
Oh.
Oh, we were wondering. Sorry.
Wait, because it's a big line.
Yeah,
we were wondering.
we were like,
Can I watch?
sorry about that. We were taking up a table.
No, but when Brent, my brother,
Yeah.
and Vurb were and Wes were at Moto Playground
Yeah.
together, and that's where I first met Wes.
Right. Yeah, so I hate to use the term because it went from not used to used too much. Organically, a team ended up being built. That wasn't anyone's goal. Like, you weren't like, you just wanted.
I still don't know that it's the goal. It just happens.
It just happens.
Chase
That's
always
what I
asks me,
mean.
like, where do you want to go with this? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I met him because I was a racer
my gosh.
because of my trip.
Oh my gosh, Bullmer. Yeah, we literally get an email? I guess an email?
Yeah.
But this guy saying, hey, I rented a $800 piece of garbage motorhome and I'm from England and I'm going to drive to all the nationals. And of course, you know Davey, he thinks that's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're basically his pet now.
Yeah.
And then you're going to all the races. And then who else is hanging out at the track all day long? Video crew.
Well, your first year doing all the races for the race rep show.
Yeah.
That was like a new thing.
Yeah,
it was.
So you're staying at the track, Bullmer, and you're probably working 18-hour days at the track. So who becomes buddies?
well, I remember him sitting in the racetrack's office, and he was sleeping in his motorhome out back, and I was finally like, do you need a shower?
No, I was using the racetrack.
We had a shower. Yeah, we had a shower. Did you really use that? Oh, good.
So I didn't know that. I don't even remember knowing that. I finally was like, dude, you want to like come back to my place and shower and hang out?
Where were you staying?
At the apartments.
The lake house thing?
No.
Racer X apartment.
Which ones?
The ones off Exit 7.
I didn't know you stayed in those.
Yeah, for years.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think my
one
motorhome was better, but
Yeah. I stayed in them for. I lived there for a long time. Wow. Okay.
I think I was the only one that did.
No, I did know you were there. I remember you and Rob staying there. That's when we had who was our Aussie pit reporter?
Aaron Normal.
Erin Normoyle and her
Yes.
woman friend.
Des.
That's right. You guys were all hanging out there.
Maddie
And you were
Fran
still
sometimes.
Maddie Fran, and you were still in your motorhome.
Robo Rob loving to smoke weed.
Oh, Robo Rob, gosh, yes.
So hey, to go back to your question,
Yeah.
no, I've always been ambitious, but I think I just wanted to make cool dirt bike videos to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Then Britt and I did the whole playground thing, and I think that's when my like competitive nature like really kicked into gear.
Okay.
And when Britt and I came up with this whole Vurb idea,
Yeah.
and we started that, of course, at that point in time, it was like,
Yeah.
I want to be bigger, better, cooler than everybody.
Yeah.
And do it differently. So I think that's why Vurb stood out from day one.
And you had enough of these other guys you knew were good. I don't want to
I think
compliment
that-
these two too much, but you knew other guys that could do a good
Hey,
job.
this is the first time you've ever complimented.
I just
do it. Thank you.
See,
Normally you're ripping on me.
my journalistic instincts, I felt like I had to tell the truth for once. Damn it.
I like it.
It hurts. You knew you had a good group. It wasn't just you
And
or
at
Brent,
that point
it
in
was a
time,
group.
especially 07, man, there was a lot of hungry people that loved. Well, we were all so young. We were 17, 18, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Where money didn't really matter. It was more about the passion. Oh, wait, I can go make $200 shooting
If
dirt
I
bikes
could
for the
make
weekend.
enough to pay off like just being there,
Yeah.
It's fun. I get to go.
We just didn't know.
You're going to do it. Okay. We're idiots. We don't know how to pay a bill. I don't.
When I was at Vurb, I got paid in Skull Candy headphones.
Stop
And swear to God, like the first 5-6 months.
Probably.
maybe a Bullmer shirt here and there.
Welcome shirt here and there.
I didn't get anything because the Atlantic Ocean meant that nothing could get ever posted to me. So I just hear about all this free stuff that everyone else is getting,
But
and
I
live in
also
hope that I
worked-
get one at
I
one
worked
stage.
2 other jobs at the time to pay to basically work at Vurb for free.
But that's what it was.
And then I got a pay raise to $100 a month.
That's awesome. You got paid in headphones and T-shirts, and Bulmer's like,
Dude, I didn't even get that, man.
I was working as a garbage.
Hey, but
collector
I think he
in
got
Europe.
he probably got $300 a month.
Not to start with. It took a while to get there because it was dollars, which immediately made it was like £90. So
It was almost so much fun. Like
Everybody loved growing it from the get go.
Yeah.
Like we were all young kids. There wasn't money involved really yet. Everybody just had so much passion that everybody felt ownership and.
but here's the one thing I don't get. How did you guys have freaking equipment? That's what I don't get. How did you have cameras and like that video is the most labor and money intensive way to do
Well,
it.
luckily back then, a nice camera was $1,500 to $3,000 maybe.
Okay.
So I did the In the Ranks movies.
Yeah.
That kind of helped me buy some camera stuff, computer stuff.
You did it just to raise money to buy more
No,
stuff.
not necessarily. I didn't do it to raise money. I thought I remember sitting in 10th grade English class,
10th grade.
typing on my calculator as In the Ranks coming out, and I thought I was gonna sell 50,000 of them at $20 a piece, dude. 50,000. I'm no joke, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, bro, I'm fucking. Hey, thank you so much.
Sorry, we don't know how to work.
We don't know how to pay
Imagine being 17 or 18 and like typing in your calculator in English
Seeing
class.
all those zeros.
You're like, damn, I'm about to. I don't even know what I'm gonna
Drop
do.
out of school. I'm about to drop out of 10th grade.
And that didn't happen. But I did make enough to support the habit, I guess.
That's all it was.
Well, yeah. How did you do it, these two? How did you get equipment?
Enough to support the habit.
You were basically you were working to pay for equipment.
Yeah.
Dude, I worked a $6.50 an hour job, and like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of it went to shotgun microphones and fisheye lenses.
I would be able to come out to California for a week and I would do like just enough video content to where I was like, all right, cool, I pretty much paid off this trip. And the rest of it was just hanging out and partying.
You're still, and good thing you're still on the same program.
Yeah, 10 years later, he's still doing the same thing.
sharing rooms, living in an apartment.
You really.
Why do you think Racer X is paying for this meal?
In some ways, you guys
Thanks,
haven't
Mitch.
advanced at all.
No, we really haven't.
No.
What's great is one of the criteria for the place that we got, I needed a big enough table that 5 of us could sit and set up
really
our
was.
computers. Hell yeah.
To sit around the kitchen, just like you've done in
for the
100 other places.
I
You have
remember
to have the table.
when I was out out road as an 07. I was wearing this like metal eye patch because I got hit in the eye.
Thank you. Yep.
And like I had waited all week to go introduce myself to Wes.
So we don't make her man.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, were you getting up the guts to introduce yourself to Wes?
Yeah. Well, I was, but then I got hit in the face with a rock and had to go to the hospital and all that.
Yeah.
Metal eye patch.
Yeah, because I was sensitive. Hold on one sec.
Did you get roosted?
Yeah.
Someone posted. Someone like specifically asked for that video, and someone actually found it on YouTube and posted it.
With with the metal strainer looking eye patch on, I had to go introduce myself. Hi, I'm Danny. Blah blah blah. And like because he felt bad for me, he's like, yeah, sure, send me what you make.
And that's the jumping off point here for part one as we get into the genesis of how these guys met, how they started doing videos together, and the whole metamorphosis of Vurb. And we'll also have a surprise appearance from another former disruptor in the motocross media world, Easy E from Brotocross. He will be in part two of this because he actually works for Red Bull now also and is hand in hand with these guys producing a lot of these videos. Do you remember Brotocross? It was awesome. It was ahead of its time. Should be dominating right now. But he turned corporate, I suppose. That's all coming up in part two of this podcast. Hope you enjoyed part one. I love this stuff. This is Insider Talk. All brought to you by Yoshimura, 65 years plus of four-stroke research and development, made, engineered, designed, built right in the USA. You'll see them on the Honda HRC machines, the Geico Honda machines, the JGR bikes. Go to yoshimura-rd.com and check out an exhaust system for your bike. And, of course, everything we do is brought to you by Racer X, both the magazine and Racer X Online, the website. Make sure to go to the website for everything you need to follow the Monster Energy Supercross Series races that are starting right now. I'm headed to St. Louis. I'll also pump out part two of this podcast in a day or so. Enjoy it, folks. Thanks for listening.